Don't waste my time. Blue jacket. Can't waste my time. I'll take my life and just move on. Won't say goodbye. Forget my eyes. Won't see them glow. See the light fade out. I made it out and just moved on. I'm tired. I need a home. I ride into unknowns. Speed bumps up on the road. Now we lining up some coke to the night. Ready, set, go. Yeah, take what I want with my lasso. Throw a dime in the well for you assholes. Wish you plebs would get out of my castle. Back to the days when you fall off your bike to the gravel. Wish I could face back to the pain. Time as a fastball. Raise the bar bomb. Thin ass last call. Feeling I get past out, but I move on. My time. I'll take my life and just move on. See the light fade out. I made it out and just moved on. Yeah, waste my time. I'll take my life and just move on. Won't say goodbye. Forget my eyes. Won't see them glow. Yeah, glow. 'Cause I don't see the light in your eyes, baby. Yeah, you was on fire. Thought we was reaching new highs. Guess I just met the disguise. I hide behind just all I own. Realize there's things you'll never know. Blue jacket.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who are new here, welcome to the channel. And for those of you who are returning, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it. If you haven't realized, we are talking about certifications today in episode 2 of the live learning sessions, all about getting started with certifications. I'm going to switch things on over here and let's just dive in. For those who have been here previously, we're going to do a little bit of some recap from last time. The other thing I want to just try here, I tried adding in some different things here. We're just going to see. I should now possibly be able to get, there we go. We've got some comments highlighting. So we got hey there from the Jira guy. We've got Peter in here. Perfect. So welcome everyone. It's great to see you all here. And okay, so let's talk about what we're going to be doing today. So if you missed last month's topic, we were discussing just some general things about scheduling your exam. And that will not be something that we're going to repeat today. I have designed this set of things as a bunch of episodes where we're going to cover something slightly different. You can always go to my YouTube channel into the Lives tab to watch it, or I've actually put in a specific playlist for live learning. It should be about the third one down on the main page. If you want to go back and look at some of the tips from how to schedule your exam, you can always rewatch that one. I'll make the same statement about today's session, all about managing Jira projects for cloud. This will be posted there. It will be posted in the recap of the actual community event. You can always rewatch that one going forward. Just to give you an idea of what we have coming up in the coming months, we will be covering the ACP-120, 420, and 520. June 10th, I will say right here, the intention is that hopefully Atlassian will have some information I can talk about with the changes that are coming in July for the Atlassian Certified Expert program. And the idea would be that I will talk about those if I'm allowed to. If not, we'll probably just work into starting to cover some of the Atlassian Certified Associate exams, which are the ones more for power users, and just, giving you some preparation on those. So, getting started, just a little bit about me. I do work, there we go, for an Atlassian customer in the cybersecurity space. And I have been an admin for about 10 years at a couple of different companies, different sizes. I have managed the gambit of things from on-premise Jira Server, Bitbucket, and Bamboo. I have done a full migration into cloud, and I am currently managing, as an admin, Jira Software Cloud, Jira Service Management Cloud, and Confluence Cloud Premium. I am an Atlassian Certified Expert. I did get in there with the status before that ended, and I have about 8 active certifications. Pro skill badges are no longer a thing, but we'll talk about that at some point in the future. And you can also find me as a community leader, primarily online in the Welcome Center and in the Training Center. But I also help co-lead the Kitchener-Waterloo local chapter here in Ontario, Canada. Just as a little bit of housekeeping for this episode, I'm going to start by saying there are a number of Atlassian creators and community leaders that are in the chat, and I know that they will help with trying to answer all the questions. I will do my best to try and keep on top of the chat, but thank you all in advance for helping out here. I really do much appreciate that. I will try and prioritize questions that are about the ACP-620 first, before we talk about anything related outside of that, just so that when people are coming back to watch the recorded session of this, they will have the opportunity to get answers about this exam, more so than random topics that may come up. I will try and answer all the questions, but if there's too many, which can happen, I would encourage you to go to the training and certification collection in the online community, and I will have a link to that right near the end of this, where you can ask your questions there. I'm always there to help answer things, as are a number of the other people that are either here today or just regularly in the online community. With that, let's dive into what we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to point out that if you have not managed to go to the online, the university platform, university.atlassian.com will get you there. As soon as you get there for the first time, it's going to look very much like this with a login button. When you click that, you're going to be prompted for your Atlassian ID. If you don't have one, you'll want to create one, because that is how you're also going to access any sort of Atlassian platform, such as Jira, Confluence, you name it. That is also what you will use to log into the community when you inevitably want to ask a question. So from there, let's move on over and take a look at the ACP-620 specifically. So we're at our main university page. The first thing we're going to want to do is go and take a look at certifications. And these are going to be professional certifications. And this is going to give us a list of everything that you could possibly want to start looking at right now. And we're going to basically go and click on the Managing Jira Projects for Cloud certification. My first recommendation here is to go immediately to the exam topics list. So just scroll past a bunch of these things, and you're going to want to take a look at the exam topics. Right off the bat, this is a great breakdown of what the weights are of the various things that are going to be on the exam. And this is a great litmus test for you right off the bat to sort of say, do I know enough about the things that are worth the most on the exam that I feel comfortable taking this certification or not? So if you would say that you don't really know much about managing projects and board configurations, you probably want to learn a little bit more about that before diving in. Now, going to the exam topic list, you're going to get a much more detailed breakdown on the things that you're going to need to know. So as much as project creation was 10 to 15%, within project creation, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of topics here, such as company managed versus team managed projects, some things about team managed projects. And the one thing that the Atlassian University team has done, which is fantastic, I think this is something that's more recent that they're doing, is bringing documentation links to all of these things so that you can go and, click on that and then see, well, how do I get started with a team managed project? And, this documentation will give you a bunch of things you need to know about how to get things set up. And, some of the things that you might want to know about as a part of that. So once you have gone through and determined whether you think that you have a good understanding of what it is that you know and what you don't know, I would say that that's the point at which you're ready to decide, are you ready to take the exam? And if you think you are, you can always go and click on the schedule an exam, which, as you may remember from last time, when we clicked on that, and it's not what I want to do, we're just going to open it as a new tab here. That's going to take you to the Cert Metrics portal, which is where all of your Atlassian certification information is stored. And then you can click on the schedule and take an exam, which will take you into the Atlassian branded now PSI portal. This new appearance is great for just what it looks like. I missed it, but what is a good litmus test? Chris, what is a good litmus test is if you come and look at the exam topics list, and you can see that project creation is 10 to 15% on this one. Board and configuration is 25 to 35. Managing projects are 25 to 35. This is a good litmus test of, are you comfortable that you know everything with board configurations and managing projects, and enough that you could pass the exam with what you know based on that, and then coming in here further and looking at, say, board configurations and saying you need to know how to recommend an appropriate board type based on what someone's wanting to look at, configuring boards across multiple teams and projects. If you think that you know enough based on this sort of grading scheme of what the weighted value is of the various aspects you need to know, that's a good litmus test of whether you're ready to write this exam or not. If you come in and say, oh, I've never configured a board, I just started managing a project, I haven't ever created a project, we don't use automation, probably you want to spend a little bit more time getting familiar with those things before considering writing this exam. Where do we find the course reading materials, please? So I think the best way I can explain that is the best reading material you're going to get is the documentation. And what you're going to do, starting from the university homepage, we're going to go to the topics. We're going to go to certifications, professional certifications. That's going to take us to looking at what certification we're interested in. And from there, we are going to click on the managing projects in Jira Cloud, which is the one that we're at here. And you're going to, let me just refresh the page so that I don't want it to have timed out. We're going to come down to the exam topics and click on the download exam topics. This right here is going to be your best material for reading about how to, what you can study for this exam. Beyond that, I think it's going to be one of those things where the other thing that will help you is once you have decided to schedule the exam, you will get a voucher for the exam, as well as what they're calling the Exam Success Comprehensive Study Companion, which is basically a certification prep course. I would not say that the certification prep course is everything you need to know to be to actually pass the exam. I think it's a good refresher once you have already gone through the exam topic listing and are comfortable with all the topics in here. I hope that helped answer that question. So once we are ready to schedule the exam, obviously you're just going to click the available tests, and we're into sort of what we had for last time as far as scheduling the exam. I want to schedule the exam, but unfortunately my country is not in the country list. That is something that I would recommend bringing up to the Atlassian team. So what you'll want to do is going to support.atlassian.com and going to the very bottom. Yes, we can log in here. What we're going to be looking for specifically is a training and certification. And you're going to want to probably specifically call out a certification here, and then just, explain the what the problem is. Probably either other or certification portal. And actually, based on that, I'd say go with other, and then just give the details of the fact that you are not able to select your country of origin, and they might be able to help you out with that. So let's get back over to the exam page again. So once you have decided that you're ready, what you're going to get is, so you're going to click on the buying the exam. You'll get an email from Atlassian that will have the voucher code that you can put into the actual scheduling of the exam to basically get the exam for free without having to pay for it because you've scheduled it through here. The other thing that you're going to want to decide at that point is how much time you think you need to study in order to pass the exam. You will have 90 days from purchasing the exam voucher to take the exam before the voucher expires. I have generally prepared enough that I think I need 2 weeks of review time. And that is accounting for doing about 1 to 2 hours of study each night over the course of that 2-week period. And then either online or going to a testing center, taking the exam. So I would make sure that when you're looking at doing it, make sure that you have some runway in the next couple of weeks available. Obviously, circumstances can come up, but if you know you're going to be busy over the next couple of weeks, probably not a good time to schedule that exam. The certification success course itself is going to give you a review of a number of the major topics. It's also going to include a list of sample questions for the exam. In my opinion, this is not the how to pass the exam. I'm just sharing the how I do things. Before I even look at the course itself, I immediately go to the sample questions and I just try them. See how well I do. If I do very, very well, then I will just take this as I just need to do a refresher of things. If there are things that I struggle with and I get wrong, those are the areas that I want to put more of my time into reviewing and better preparing for. One other thing that is definitely going to help you with this is actually having a cloud environment to work with. And one of the best ways that you can get yourself set up successfully for that is actually by getting a developer site. So this is hidden in the Atlassian developer framework, but if you go to go.atlassian.com/cloud-dev, this will give you a single license for Jira software, for Confluence, and a single Jira service management agent license. You cannot change them. You cannot add anyone else to the site, but it is a standard plan for free. So if you want the ability to look at all of the permission settings, which are not available on the free plan, this is your best avenue for being able to have a standard plan site for free that is only for you. And that is my recommendation on having an environment you can play with in cloud to be able to successfully look at the exam. All right, so that is most of what I wanted to sort of cover and share about this. I'm opening up the rest of this time as anyone having questions about things. I am happy to show off and share anything that anyone might have. And while I'm waiting for some questions to come in, one that you might be asking is, so you didn't cover anything about the ACP-610, which is specifically for data center. Is that something that's going to be done in the future? The answer is no. And the reason I'm not going to cover the ACP-610 is because I have been on cloud since 2019, and I don't feel as though I am confident enough in my abilities to share what I know about the data center platform in the way that it currently exists today to be as helpful as I can be for you. The other thing I would mention is that the differences between the ACP-610 and 620, most of them are going to be relatively the same. Where you're going to see a few differences is on knowing the differences between the cloud and data center platform, or just there are differences between the two platforms, and that's the only real difference between the two. So 90% of what you can study for in the 620 is relevant for the 610. All right, we do have some questions coming in now. So let's see. Is data conversion from Excel a part of the exam? Tom, no, it is not. This is always just about the base platform itself. So you're going to find that a lot of it is more about configuring the projects and configuring the boards than the import and export of things. A sample of the exam questions. I am sorry to inform you, I am not an Atlassian employee, and therefore I don't actually have access to some sample of the exam questions. I would say if you are interested, there may still be the certification accelerator programs in the online community. If you can get into one of those, they may still have some of the sample questions there. How challenging would you say that exam is? Atlassian Community Vancouver, thank you for being here. How challenging is it? Okay, so the best way I can describe that one is it depends on how much experience you have. For me, I didn't take the ACP-620 until I had about 6 years of experience under my belt as an admin. So it was fairly easy for me because I'd done a lot of that configuration. I do know that my partner in crime at work has only been managing Jira configuration for about a year, and he found it a bit more challenging. In and of itself, I would say the 620 and the 610 are probably the easiest exams to get into because the things that are being asked for are relatively everyday tasks that you're going to be working on as either a full admin or a project admin. So they're probably the easier of all the exams that are out there. I think it really depends on what sort of level of experience you have on things. How granular do you need to get with permissions? Do I need to know each one in detail or just the general scope of comment permissions, edit permissions, etc.? So I would say that you're going to want to know definitely permissions by name. I know that some of the things that you may be asked about are what permissions you should assign to someone. And if you don't know, for instance, that there is no permission for view issues because there is a different permission that controls that, that may confuse you or make you mistaken on when you're selecting certain things. Can you please explain how to get a practice Jira software access? Sure. So, the going back here, what you're going to do is the go.atlassian.com cloud dev is the best way to get a sign up. So, getting started, you're going to put in your work email address to sign up for a new site. That will get you access to a cloud site that you have full control over. That is probably your best way to have a practice instance to start with. Is data center version going to be obsolete? All right. So Tom's asking all the tough questions here. I am going to say this much. I do not work for Atlassian, so I have no idea what their plans are in the future. We know that server is about 2 days away from being end of life. I would read between the lines on what's happening right now and just sort of say, we have seen that cloud seems to be the focus of what Atlassian's working on. Does that mean that it's going to be gone? I don't know. What I can say is that the ACP-620 exam is still available for you to take. And if you think that would be, if that is relevant to your job, there is nothing that should stop you from taking that today. Could you please write here the link? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can definitely share the link in the chat. There you go. So that will get you a standard plan with one license for yourself. If you change anything about that instance, it will make it go to a, if you try to add more users, it will become a paid site. If you change it to a free plan, you will not be able to change it back to a standard plan. So just be aware that this is actually intended for cloud development, and they're just giving you access to the features that you would need from a standard plan. So I would say from a user management perspective, just try and keep it to just yourself, and you should be able to access all the features you need for doing the study that you want. Is it possible to ace it merely by studying and hands-on practice? How much time do you recommend for study? That is a fantastic question. So I think it's one of those things where it depends on how much hands-on practice you have had. I will admit that when I first wrote it with 6 years of experience under my belt, I scored a 92% at the time. And that was when it was the ACP-620 that one, I think issue collectors was one of the things that was on there. There was a single question on that. To this day, I've still never used issue collectors myself. And I opted to not bother studying about that because I was okay accepting the fact that I may lose 5% on the exam by not knowing the answer to that question. So, 2 to 3 depending on time zone. That's fair. Yeah. So, I would say the more experience you have, probably the less studying you need, and probably just more the review that you need. The one thing that I can say about Atlassian's questions is a lot of them are more in the details of the language that's being used. So, look for words like what is definitely true. And if you can make any form of an argument as to why something might not be true, probably not the right answer. So I think knowing the terminology is probably more important. If you know the subject matter because you are an admin, you've been an admin for a number of years, and you know how to create a project, the thing that you probably want to study more is the terminology. Because I know for the ACP-520, and I know I'm jumping ahead to an exam, but this is just a really good one from semantics. The difference between an API token and an API key will make a difference, even though I know a number of people who use those terms interchangeably. So if there are terms that Atlassian has, make sure that you're using Atlassian's terms for things, because that is what's going to be the difference between a right or wrong answer. So if we're coming to the end of questions, that is perfectly fine. If you think of anything that you forgot about after we close this down, you can always head over to, and you know what, we can always put that up right now. Just switch on over to the presentation again, and I will just put it here. You can always go to the online community, and I know someone's going to ask me to write it, so we will just do that right now. Let me just get down to this here. I will put this in the chat first. If you think of anything that you forgot to ask, feel free to go to the online community and ask your questions there. You may get me answering it, you may get someone else answering it, but definitely a good way to do it. Oh, what do we got here? What are the different types of questions? Great ask. So the different types of questions, they're all going to be multiple choice. So you're not going to have anything that is like a what's the word I'm looking for? You're not going to have anything that's going to ask you to type out an answer. You may have the odd question that's going to have a table or an image that it's going to ask you to give a multiple choice answer to, but they're always going to be just multiple choice answers. I believe Atlassian is starting to standardize on just a single answer as far as the what's being provided. But you're not going to have anything that you have to write a paragraph out for. On the side, are there any specifics for implementing an SAP project? Tom, you're going to need to explain to me what you mean by implementing an SAP project. How long does it take to get results after writing the exam? So, I would say, Kevin, initially, you will, as soon as you have written the exam, whether you're at a testing center or online, you'll get a splash screen that's going to tell you your pass fail. Yep, as Peter's putting in there, you will get your pass fail immediately. As far as once you know that you have passed, when will the certifications show up in the certification portal? That can take a few business days for that to happen. No essay questions. The odds, select 2 choices, but mostly single. Yeah. So what the Jira guy has mentioned is exactly it right there. Thanks. Excellent talk. You gave me a framework to start organize my study. Tom, I'm glad that I was able to help you out there. Is there any documentation related to AQL for assets? I'm going to say this much. I believe there is documentation for AQL. I don't know how much of it. Just give me 1 second here, though. We will see what we can find. I will say this much. You will not find anything related to AQL on the exam because it's a premium feature as a part of Jira Service Management. So it's not something that's going to come up as a part of that. So let's do a quick search here. This is probably going to be your best starting point. So, and I can put this in the chat as well. That's probably your best starting point for AQL assets. What else do we have here? The final push of the submit button is always the scariest. Jira guy, I completely agree with you. The one thing that can help with that is if you flag a bunch of the questions and that you're not sure about and then go back to them at the end. I always find that gives me a bit of peace of mind that I have gone back and reviewed and I'm more confident in the things that I need to know. What are the benefits of taking an Atlassian certification and who is supposed to take this cert? Great question. I think the answer to the benefits, for me personally, it was helping to fight imposter syndrome. I am one of those people who second guesses myself a lot. So having Atlassian specifically say, yes, you have passed this, you know exactly what we would want you to know in order to say that you are a project administrator, really helped me have the confidence to walk into a meeting and know that I have some competency of what I'm talking about. Who's supposed to be taking this? I would say that the Jira guy said it best about 2 years ago on JiraCon, that the professional certifications are a rite of passage. So it's not something that you should be taking when you are first made a project administrator or a full Jira admin. It's something that you should take after you have gotten a little bit of experience under your belt and you want to prove that you are as good as you think you are. If you are a power user that's looking to get into some certifications, but you're not quite at the level of you've been an admin for a while, I would recommend Atlassian's associate certifications. These ones are more designed for your power users. And your Jira software board configuration is a great first step, as is the Jira software essentials. Both of those are a good first starting point for getting into certifications when you haven't necessarily been an admin for a while. What percentage of folks pass the first time taking the exam? That is a question probably best asked of Atlassian. I think the best answer I can give you is the passing score is generally around the expectation of how many people pass on the first time. So a passing score of 60% probably tells you that about 60% of the people will pass on the first time. Then now the information that Atlassian has may be different, but usually that passing score is set appropriately towards the how many people will pass on the first try. Where can I find a list of centers that offer in-person exams? So that I can help you with. The best way that we're going to do that is we're going to go to the schedule your exam. Now I'm going to pick a different exam because I'm only going to be able to show you the exams that I have access to. But what you're going to see is when you go to schedule the exam, we're going to get this nice portal here. We're going to go to viewing available tests. And let's just take the first one in the, actually, no, let's go with one that has been here for a while. Perfect. We can take this one here. So what we want to do, we're going to go to continue the booking. And I'm doing this live, so we're going to see how well this works. So you're going to select on-site instead of online. And then we're going to go to continue. And it's going to confirm some of my things. And then it's going to ask me to enter in a postal code for where I am. So I'm going to put in that is not my actual address, but it's close enough to me to get something relevant. And then this is going to tell me where the closest testing centers are to my location. So if you aren't able to enter an address in here, as I said earlier, I would recommend putting in a support ticket and finding out if there is any center that is offering things close to you. But yeah, those are sort of what I need as far as finding a testing center for me. What do we have here? Does the exam include premium or enterprise questions, or is it standard or free sufficient? Susan, that's a great question. So where I would recommend going for that answer is on the exam topics. I can tell you that based on this, you are probably only going to have to worry about the standard plan. The free plan will not include things that have to do with permissions. So that is just a caveat on that. So anything that has to do with determining appropriate permissions, you won't be able to try that out on a free instance. But that is where the going to go.atlassian.com/cloud-dev is going to get you a free standard plan environment for yourself, where you can experiment with those sorts of things. As a business analyst or other cross-functional teams that use Jira to manage agile projects, is there a need for taking this cert? That's a great question. I would say that you're going to want to take this cert if you are actually a project administrator in Jira, where you are responsible for configuring the boards and adding users to that project, possibly also setting up things like sprints and releases. I know sprints aren't directly an admin thing, but I know a lot of companies that use it that way. Those are the people that I think would benefit most from this specific certification. If you are a cross-functional, I'm going to go back to the associate certifications, you would probably be best looking at the Jira Software Essentials and possibly the board configuration. If you aren't necessarily the project administrator, but you set up a lot of boards for your teams, those two are probably more relevant for proving that you have Jira knowledge without necessarily being an admin. Where else can I go for information about studying for the exam? And I'm realizing I just missed a one back here. Is there a video like yours where we can prepare for the exam? That is a great question. I don't know. I would say I would check out some of the other Atlassian creators. I know Alex from Ape Tech Tutorials has done some live streams where he is live studying. I think the 520 is the one he's most recently been doing. I don't know if he has done something for the 620, but that might be someone worth taking a look at. The Jira guy, where else can I go for good information about taking or studying for exams? Honestly, I would say the online community is a great place to go. So let's just get another tab going here. So if we specifically go to the online community, and we are going to go specifically into exploring all the groups. And there is one here for training and certifications. Right near the top. This is a great place where you will find a number of other people. Oh, he just took the 520 exam. Okay, that's cool. So this training and certification collection, this is where I recommended coming if you haven't, if we didn't get to all the questions or you thought of a question after the live stream. This is a great place to go. You will also find a lot of people who are talking about studying for the exam and, looking for right here, any tips and tricks for taking the 610 certification. There are tons of things if you just search in the community for the ACP-620 of people asking for advice, offering advice. This is another great resource for finding more information about how to study for the exam. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I would be curious to know how Alex did. We'll wait for that information. Carol, thank you for sharing. You're also in the KW region. We should reactivate the Canadian chapter. So, Carol, funny you should mention that. The Kitchener-Waterloo chapter is active. I am one of the co-leaders on it. And there is actually an event next Tuesday. It's a virtual session all about ITSM and JSM. So that one is being co-hosted by a bunch of people that if you're interested, go check it out. Might be something worth registering for to check it out. I know there is plans when the weather gets a little nicer to try and do some in-person events in KW. All right. We are almost at time. So if you have any more questions, now would be the time to get them in before we wrap things up. I'll actually just switch the little splash ad over here. So next, Team 24 question mark. So actually, thank you. The Jira guy, that's a really good point. And I will get to that. Yes. So if you are attending Team 24, I believe it is the Tuesday, the 30th of April, is certification day. And certification day is where Atlassian is going to have 2 sessions, a morning and afternoon, where you can sign up for a number of certifications for $50 US. If you noticed that the price for the ACP-620 is normally $249. So if you are planning on attending Team 24 in Vegas, it might be worth your while seeing if you can sign up to take one of the certifications there. Save yourself a bit of money if you're already going to be attending the event. I will also say, yes, I am attending Team 24. So if you want to come and pick my brain in person, look for me around the expo hall floor. I am more than happy to answer any questions in person about that. What's next episode? DoD, yes. That is a great call out. Yes, in the bottom splash screen, I did put that, yes, the next episode will be about the ACP-120. So if you are looking for the full Jira admin and getting questions answered there about that, yes, next month is going to be all about the ACP-120. He's also in a panel in the community area. That's actually a really good point. Can I share the link for the Canadian chapter? Absolutely, I can share the link for the Canadian chapter. So yes, I may or may not be speaking on a panel at Team 24. More importantly, you will just be able to find me around the community and university booth at all times. So if you're not able to find me anywhere, probably that's the first place to look. So if you are interested in the local chapter that I help with, we do mostly virtual events in the wintertime just because driving sucks in Canada. There is also all Canadian events that will be posted on every single one of those chapters. And those are always all virtual, but they cover all of Canada. Usually it's tied to something Canadian, whether it's Canadian Thanksgiving, Canada Day, or possibly spring cleaning that might be coming up ahead of Team 24. I think planning started for that. So those are definitely some things. The other chapter I will throw it here, just in case you haven't registered for it already, will just be the live learning chapter. That is the online chapter that this specific event comes from, which is all about the various getting started sessions. So please do go in and join this. I am just one of a few creators that have events going on. You can expect to see within the next 1 or 2 weeks, there's going to be getting started with Jira Service Management, Confluence, Jira as an admin. And actually, Atlassian's going to be doing one at the end of the month, all about getting started with Compass. Will Team 24 be live streamed? I will say this much. I am not going to make a commitment to live streaming it. But generally speaking, if you sign up for the digital version of Team 24, you will be able to see the keynotes, and a number of the major sessions will be available online. On demand online. So watch at your own pace. Those are definitely probably the best way to keep up with the things that Atlassian is got coming in the next year if you're not able to attend in person. And with that, I think we are almost at time. So if I will take 1 or 2 more questions, and then anything else, I will refer you to the training and certification section of the online community. So I will just pop this back up there. Maybe. There we go. And just say that thank you all for attending today. I really appreciate the number of people who came out, the number of questions that have been asked. They've all been wonderful questions. I hope that this has helped you learn something, a little bit about getting ready for the ACP-620. Please do go and join the live learning chapter if you want to learn more about getting started with a number of the Atlassian products. And then, as always, if you think of questions after this has ended, please do go and ask them in the training and certification section of the university. There will definitely be someone there to help answer some of those questions. With that, I think we'll call an end to the live stream today. But thank you for joining, and I will see you next month when I am covering the ACP-120 exam, all about Jira admin certification. So with that, have a good afternoon, everyone.